Alright. I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off on this and gonna get right into some Homestuck. So, hopefully this audio capture works as well. We'll see. But the mic certainly works, and just getting right into it. Years in the past, but centuries in the future. Jake, respond. I need to set up this. One moment. Settings. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Okay. That should be fine. Um. There. Alright. What were these voices again? Happy 13th, bro. I have something for you. Whoa, Nelly. You were too kind, my friend. What is it? It's no big deal. Since it's nothing I wasn't planning on giving you anyway. I just sort of happened to finish it today. I think I catch your drift. So, my new tin comrade finally gets head on his shoulders, eh? Yeah, assuming I can actually send it today without another untimely paradoxification. If not, then hey, you get a sick grill full of birthday slam instead. Oh, hell no. Hell no, man. Well, listen, if you're going to send me slime, or otherwise, could you please at least not make the shit appear directly over my head this time? The last thing I need on my B-day is another installment of, and I quote, Mambro Bukkake Theta. You still don't actually know what that means, do you? Really? It's your friggin' feature speech, man. I gathered it was just something like getting slimed like in Ghostbusters or some such. Kind of. I told you to look it up. Yeah. I'm a busy fella, Dick. Wikipedia is a lot of letters to type in a thing for a man. I'm sorry. Wikipedia is a lot of letters to type in in a thing for a man of action on the go. I'm always doing adventures, remember? That is such bullshit. You sit in your little jungle globe watching movies all day. Well, yes. But okay, I do have a lot of movies to bone up on. There's so many good ones I still haven't seen. You think literally every film you watch is a masterpiece. I've never felt so much vicarious shame through someone else's atrocious taste in awful garbage. Screw you, I have impeccable standards. It's just there's so much good stuff out there, and I've really been on a roll with my picks lately. Do you even hear yourself, dude? Your picks are everything. And lately is always. Yes, I hear myself just fine. I hear a discriminating gentleman's melodious voice, and it strikes my ears as the voice of reason. Say, here's one I'm pretty excited about. Have you heard about this Avatar Jam? It's coming out next year. You mean the blue furry shit? No, man, it is not blue furry shit, far from it. Get this. It is about this paralyzed fellow who is down on his luck and longs for adventure, and he finds it. But it's in a far away. But it is far away on an enchanted planet rich with coveted treasures. And adventure is not all that he finds, oh no. He also finds romance. A beautiful blue woman from the wild teaches him the ways of the savage culture and also the ways of alien love. Together they frolic in the forest while sharing primal intimacy through magic sexual escapades. What's so funny, wise guy? To borrow from one of the more benighted sectors of your zeitgeist, that was so gay. Excuse me, but I fail to see what could possibly be gay about some huge, elegant blue men and women having really spiritual intercourse with their tails or something. Well, yeah, obviously not literally, Jake. Where I'm from, that word hasn't been used as a pejorative or even much at all in a really fucking long time. But you're from friggin' Texas, aren't you? Yes, not exactly. Ah, stop being such a cryptic troll all the time. Anyways, Avatar looks spectacular, and I think my preemptive review is spot on. The bloody end. Okay, but what you just said about those furries was gay as hell. It's time to face facts. You are just treating my great taste in flicks to your aloof hipstery disdain as usual. You don't know anything about that movie. Maybe you'll like it? Nah, I saw it already. That movie sucked the smelliest shit from the ugliest butt. Sorry, man. Well, now I know you're just trolling me. Okay, if that wasn't Jake English, I would do a second take, but I think it's canon that he can't keep an accent. It won't be out for another year. Right. Here, let me send you the rest of this robot already. You've spent too much time alone. You've spent too long alone on that island as it is. I kind of worry about you. A man can only spend so much time in the middle of the damn ocean with nothing but pop cultural detritus and his own thoughts to keep him company. Might even name a planet after it someday. Alrighty. I hope it won't be as difficult to finish building as the rest. Yeah. I hope it won't be as difficult to finish building as the rest was to assemble. Nah, just screw the thing on and it's ready to go. Capital. Scoot that noggin my way at your ready then. Oh, that was gay. That was a very gay thing to say, Jake. Jake, Jake, please look some of this up. Oh my god. Oh, cool. It worked. I almost started that with the Jake's accent. I'll do that again. Oh, cool. It worked. You nerd. You nerd. Eh. How do you even. You nerd. He's got your slick Japanese spectacles and everything. Why is this metal man before me? Or is it. Why? Is this a metal man before me? Or is it none other than Dirk Strider himself in my room? One thing at a time, bro. I haven't quite figured out a way to get myself there yet. It almost sounds like this is something you give it some thought. Okay, well, I don't know what you're implying there, but why don't you snap that sucker on the torso and fire it up? Affirmative. I'll continue to boggle vacantly at your technical shenanigans. Your knack for gadgetry seems to surpass even my grandma's, and she was like this big time gizmo legend. How do you even do this stuff? I guess from your perspective, I must seem hills of overpowered in a bunch of ways, which I kind of am. Like with a ninja sword, I'm basically nuts, okay? If you say so, buddy, I can believe it. Yeah, but when it comes to building stuff, you're probably overstating things. Like, for example, if you told someone 100 years ago you could build a computer, they'd probably be like, whoa, shit, look at this fucking genius. Actually, first of all, they'd say, what's a computer? I only know what horses and disease are and shit like that. But once you actually tell them what computers are, Jesus, Dick, you're a wizard. But from your perspective, you know it's not a big deal to build a computer. You just go online and buy a case and a motherboard and some other shit and put it all together. It's not like you're smelting the goddamn silicon in your basement and making chips in your hermetically sealed dust free garage. Yeah, but come on, it's not like you're from a century in the future. Ha! Well, no. Nor am I some quaint man of the past. Pardon me, but I do sound like some trolley car bellwether, toiling at the heart of the mustache belt from the. Pardon me, but do I sound like some trolley car bellwether toiling in the heart of the mustache belt from the rough and tumble year of 1909? He said, unironically. Give me some credit, man, and some to yourself as well. You were too modest with all this robotics noise. I don't know. I have a lot of time to work. I have a lot of time to work on stuff, I guess. There are a lot of irons. You know where they are? Here's a hint. It's a pretty hot place. Kitchen? Sure, I keep some irons there too, but most of them are in the fire. Oh, of course. Fire's quite notoriously the hottest thing there is. A tip-top locale for a whole mess of irons. True that. I actually have so much to do and think about. One of my current projects hopefully will address that very issue. Gonna make an AI replica of my own mind. You can share some of the load, as well as make a decent intellectual sparring partner, ideally. Not that my conversations with you aren't uniquely rad, but you know what I mean. See, again, I think you were downplaying a pretty neat accomplishment, if you ask me. A shrug. We'll see. Does that mean I'll have to deal with two decks? One who is more machine than man, and another who is a computer program you made. That's a super joke. But I'm guessing you won't be hearing much from the program. It probably won't play a significant role in either of our lives. I have my doubts it'll be a successful project, but who knows? I'd wager a tiny sum on the results of the endeavor will be sensational. I believe in you. You do? Sure, bro. Always have. You've helped me out a lot. Been a good friend for ages. Mm. What? Well, I wasn't sure about doing this today. But if it's true that you do believe in me, then I guess fuck it. Why not? Why not? What? I guess call it an extra birthday present. But instead of a present that's awesome, consider it more like a weird confession that may change the way you feel about me. Whoa, Dick. Uh, are you saying what I think? What? What do you think I'm saying here? Mm, never mind. Sorry for interrupting. Should I sit down for this? Oh, I don't know what to do. Wait, I am already sitting down. Maybe I should stand up? No, just chill out. Stand up, sit down, whatever. Here's the thing. Uh, you know all those painfully obvious hints I've been dropping that seem to always be flying over your head? Uh, maybe. Oh, I think I need to tell you something about me being from the future. Oh, oh, yes, yes, I think so. Well, those weren't jokes. It's true. What? Oh man, are you actually serious? Yes. So, like, you're off from a century in the future? No. More like 4 centuries. The year 2422, or as we say contemporarily, 411 PC. Post condescension. Wow. I must say, this is not the announcement I was expecting. So you a time traveler from 2422 here to help me build robots or something? No, I can't time travel. I can only send things through time occasionally. I actually live here in the future, alone in my apartment. I can send messages to you in the past, though, like I'm doing now. How? Years ago, our alien friend sent me a special chat client. It's basically just Pester Chum with some sort of alien technology embedded. It's specifically wired to communicate with your time period. As hours go by for me, the time it sends messages to also increments by the same amount, so we communicate in lockstep. As if we both existed in the present. She said it was important for Roxy and I to begin communicating with you and Jane. This is how we all became friends. Wait, you and Roxy? Yes, she lives in the future too. Though we live nowhere near each other. I asked her to refrain from telling either of you. I wanted to be the one to let you know. Wait for the right moment. Holy fucking mackerel, this is amazing. So, you really are trusting me about this. Just like that. No second thought. Well, yeah. Sure, man, why not? Wait, it's not a prank, is it? No. This would be a very shitty and boring prank. I promise it isn't. Then heck yes, I believe it to friggin' pieces. It's an awesome thing to be true. So, what's the far-flung future like? Some sort of crazy robot paradise? Not quite, but there are definitely robots. Oh man, what are your movies like in the future? I bet there's some real cinematic humdingers. Like holographic stuff? Or shit you plug directly into your brain pod, right? Wait, you do have brain pods, right? No, we don't have brain pods because those aren't a thing. You just made that up. There are no movies in the future. There are no humans either. They all went extinct. Roxy and I are the only ones left. as far as we know. Well, shit. Dirk, this story got so much less awesome. Is it too late to backpedal on believing it before I start to cry? Nah, dude, it's too late. Tears ahoy, this motherfucker gets sad. Do you want to know what happened? Sure do. Let me just finish putting the steel melon on my robot, and then I'm all ears. Jake, complete robot. There, he is finished. Look at this spanking on friend from the future. He is perfect. Oh, shoot, Dirk, he just got blurry and disappeared. What the actual fuck? Don't worry, that's normal. Upon activation, he goes into stalking mode. Stalking mode? Yes. He will stalk you in the jungle and strike when your guard is down. What? That's crazy. Why would I want that? Didn't you want someone to get in scrums with? Well, yeah, but... Man. He will give you all the scrums you can handle. Trust me, this will sharpen your combat skills. I guess you're right. I was just picturing a good, honest roughhousing. Why does the whole thing have to sound so sketchy and nerve-wracking? Do you want to hear my grim tales of the apocalypse or not? Yes. You're right. Let's put the issues of fisticuffs aside for now. Tell me everything about the future. So, how does humanity fuck up? Is it nuclear holocaust? Is it robots? Gotta be the robots, right? As per the Terminator. No, it's more a gradual decline in population than that due to an insidious power grab by an aquatic alien empress. Oh, the old alien overlord story? Got it. When does she show up? She's already there in your time period, hiding in plain sight. She's been for anywhere between 50 and 100 years. She's the Baroness of Crockertop, Jane's company. But of course, Jane has no idea. The Baroness has been using subtle strategies to manipulate the human population through her company for a long time. On November 11th, 2011, she finally made her presence known to the world, along with her agenda for global domination. Jeez, that is pretty scary. So in a few years, she'll be in charge of everything? No, not quite. That's just when the world finally sees her for the threat she is. She would continue to gain power by exploiting various institutions and the media from within. It would take the next several decades for her to claim the throne as Earth's absolute ruler. Her march to domination was facilitated by a number of scumbag sympathizers and opposed by a few brave rebels, including my ancestor. Roxy's, too. I think your ancestor qualifies as one as well. In fact, I'm sure she might have been the first member of the covert opposition movement. My grandma? I do remember when I was very young, she would tell me stories of the wicked woman who raised her. Was she the evil alien? Yep. That's a whole story right there, most of which is shrouded in rumor and urban legend. But before we get sidetracked by any of that, I'll try to cover the big picture. Give you a sense of all the batshit lunacy that followed the Sea Hag's power play. Nobody at the time knew what the fuck she wanted to accomplish or what her actual motives were, but in retrospect, it became clear she was trying to essentially restore the conditions of her old home world, which she used to rule over as well. She began instituting these crazy laws. First of all, people weren't allowed to reproduce. She found our usual method of procreation revolting, and anyone who engaged in it was punished by death. But she still needed an ongoing population of subjects to abuse, so to propagate the race, she set up this weird system. At random intervals, every citizen would be required to supply their genetic material to drones. That DNA would be collected and combined in some way. Many years later, long after the original donors had died, clones would be spawned from their DNA, so no one would ever be able to know who their parents were or to be able to trace their lineage. It was only through a bit of good fortune that Roxy and I were able to discover what our ancestors were. Who our ancestors were. They were the rebels you mentioned? Are they alive right now? I mean, in my time? Yes. Oh, I am very curious about them, and also my grandma. I'll get to that, don't worry. Anyway, her imperious condescension turned out to be especially cruel to her human subjects. I'm sure her rule was no picnic on her home world, but I think she resented humans' biological incompatibility with the ideal empire she envisioned and became frustrated. Humanity wasn't even really her first choice for rule. There are reports that she attempted to clone members of her own species and replace the human population with them, but they all died. What happened to them? The rumors say it was her own pet who killed them. See, she traveled from her world to Earth in this huge red space ark. In it, she had gathered thousands of creatures from her planet, I'm guessing to save them from extinction. This, more than anything, has led me to speculate that some cataclysm happened on her home world, and she moved on to greener pastures to rebuild her empire. She bred all these creatures in secret, increasing their numbers, preparing for her eventual takeover. Each monster, or lusus naturae, was meant to be a kind of a caretaker of the young. You can see where the dramatic schism between our species and hers begins, and also why she had a reputation for being quite insane. Uh, but she also happens to have this one humongous sea monster, Lucis, that was like her own personal bodyguard. Kind of a secret weapon, but it turns out the thing's kind of an enigma, sort of a double edged eldritch horror, as much in her service as it is calling the shots in some unfathomable way. Every time she tried to resurrect her race, it would slaughter them all psychically, as if it was keeping her ambition in check. Or so the story goes. Wait, these beasts tend to the young? Well, I can tell you from first hand experience that monsters are totally rotten at taking care of kids. They do a bang up job of making them scared, though. Exactly. The plan was beyond shitty. So, does that mean you and Rox were raised by these things? Nope. It was a very short lived experiment centuries ago. Humans just don't have that same evolutionary symbiosis with those things that her race had. It turns out that a bunch of fucking alien monsters have no interest in whatsoever in taking care of human babies. They mostly just wound up eating them, or at best, just abandoning them. Later, she instated a Lucidroid system to serve the same function, and she began phasing in more robotic solutions in favor of all this ill conceived biotech nonsense that always did nothing but backfire. Even the drones were replaced with robotic versions. I imagine they were easier to produce and control since she'd given up hope of perfectly mirroring her own civilization with all its convoluted symbiotic glory. But not without a good fight, and not without taking her frustrations out on the human population. She attempted to enforce blood casting through efforts to genetically alter people's blood color. That was an ugly chapter. A lot of fucking people died from that debacle. Over the last 400 years, the population just got smaller and smaller from these atrocities piling up, but she clearly didn't give a shit. All the while, the amount of dry land kept shrinking due to the gradual flooding. Soon there was hardly anywhere left to live, and then that was that. No more people. Damn. Wait, flooding? Oh, yeah, I probably should have mentioned this up front. One of the first things she did while in power was begin melting the ice caps. Eh. One of the first things she did in power was begin melting the ice caps. Damn it. It took a while, but eventually the whole world flooded. That's how it is now. It's totally soaked up in this bitch. Wow, like the epic Kevin Costner film? Almost exactly. Especially by the same degree of shittiness. Oh man, does that mean you have to drink your own pee? I mean, if you pretend it's apple juice, it's fine. You get used to the taste. Welcome it even. That takes about 15 days in a row of hard piss drinking, though. Ew. No, dude. No. Ew. Relax. I don't drink any goddamn piss, okay? Oh, okay. Phew. So I guess your Lucis droid thing sees to it that you have fresh water? Nope, those stopped being a thing a long time ago, too. Once humans went extinct. Oh, I thought, well, who raised you then? Nobody, man. I raised my damn self. Jesus Christopher Kringle fucker, and here I thought I was rugged. You're still pretty rugged. You're just a fucking dork about it. That's true. I guess I did have Cal looking after me. Let's not discount the rad service at the sea, man, okay? Heaven forbid. And what about Roxy? Pretty sure the Carapacians took care of her when she was young. Wait, the Watsits? Right, another thing I forgot to mention. There are a lot of these humanoid creatures with hard shells, some black, some white. As humanity was dwindling due to an increasingly whimsical and unstable contest, she began introducing more of these Carapacians on the scene. Are they aliens too? Sort of? They're definitely from other planets, so yeah. Really, the deal with where they come from is a whole other story for another time. But the bottom line is at some point, somehow, she started herding a bunch of them from their home worlds onto Earth and multiplying them. Something like 100 years ago, it became clear she favored these guys more than humans as her subjects. They're very loyal and seem genuinely dedicated to serving her. Must be what they're bred for. She still treats them like shit, though, unsurprisingly. All these colonies started sprouting up like these modular cities floating on the water. It probably sounds cooler than it is, but they're basically slums. That's where they tend to live in large numbers. But Roxy lives in one of those colonies. It's about 200 miles from where I am. Good gravy. Those are exotic circumstances. And here I was thinking I had the most exciting and adventurous life. It turns out I'm just some jump on boring-ass Monster Island and silly old pre-apocalypse. For what it's worth, I think it's got to be more interesting living in the 21st century than the 25th. Like, it is really no contest. You're probably right. I'd be really keen on talking to Roxy about this too. I'm very curious about her experiences as a future lady with all the Watsits, the hard shell folk. I must say it turns my previous perception of your lives right on its friggin' ear. Man, she would love to talk to you about all this. She hates keeping secrets. It's been killing her not to spill all these fucking beans all the way to hell prematurely. Like, what is even your day-to-day business? Like in see Hitler's water apocalypse? Well, I mostly just shit around in my apartment all day, building stuff, reading about history, and flipping out with my sword. Sometimes I go fishing and check out the underwater ruins. She does plenty of useless fucking around too, but at least she's got a neighborhood. She also got one of those gadgets to gank vegetables and stuff from the past. She tries to feed hungry neighbors whenever she can scrounge up. Pumpkin. Those are amazing stories. I'm so lucky to have friends like you. Oh, snap, what about Jane? Have you told her? Jane is... No, I haven't. I've dropped some hints and tested her willingness to believe something like this. It's just not gonna fly. It's way too much to drop on somebody all at once if they aren't receptive. True, but it seems like a shame to keep her out of the loop. Well, tell her whatever you want. She'll likely think she's being fucked with. Personally, I wouldn't bother trying too hard to convince her. There's no point in alienating her. Someday, she'll be ready to believe things. Okay. Wow, I still have so many questions. It's incredible that this is all going to happen right around the corner. Oh, I don't know if I'm ready. Like I said, the changes will be a little more gradual than that. More clandestine. She'll exploit the fear caused by her revelation to the world to create unintended reactions within governments and media, and her agents embedded on the inside will help nudge things in the direction she wants. Then, some 20-some years down the road, without anyone suspecting a thing, she'll suddenly be in complete control, and Earth will be fucked. I want to join the opposition. Fuck this witch. I have lots of guns and reckless bravado, and I want to stop her. I'll pick up where my grandma left off. Well, aside from the main reasons that won't happen, which I won't get into, that still wouldn't be a good idea. Oh shit, why not? Because people way better at this than you have tried and died? You said you wanted to hear about our ancestors. Heck yes, bro. Well, how much do you actually remember about your grandma? What have you read? And what do you remember? My memory of her is pretty foggy. I do know she loved adventure just like me. That's why she was exploring this island and raising me here when she died. She's a fair marksman woman and knew her way around an atom or two. Pretty sure her company made a tidy fortune till that went belly up. At least still have a few of her knickknacks for keepsakes. And as you confirmed, she was raised by that evil spinster. But then again, from some of the things my pen palace said, it kind of throws some of those details into question, so I don't know what to think. I don't know what the deal is with your pen pal either, and I'm not really prepared to speculate on that right now. But I'm privy to a shitload of historical data I can share. What's the last thing you remember about her? It was the night I found her. It was the night I found her dead. She had gone off to study the ruins one day. I'm pretty sure that was her purpose on this island, to study the technology here and solve all of its astonishing mysteries. She even built that big fancy house we used to live in, so I guess she really wanted to settle here for a while. But she didn't come here from her expedition for a couple days. She didn't come home from her expedition for a couple days, so I started to get worried. I followed the trail we normally take to the lagoon, keeping my eyes peeled for monsters. But instead, I found her lying there dead. I think a monster caught her off guard. There were 3 big fang marks in the body and a trail of blood along the path. It looked like she was trying to get home but couldn't make it before succumbing to the injury. But before I could even do anything about it, I heard an explosion. I looked back at the hill and my house was gone. Just a big poof of smoke where it was standing. So I lived alone in the jungle ever since. Huh. I wondered about all that. Maybe a 3-pronged claw? Like a trident? Well, you never asked. Oh, I know, I would have. But asking about your pets would have just been inviting you to do the same. You know how it goes. I did. But for the record, I don't think those were fang marks on the body, dude. No? Finish the story first. Then what? Oh, there's not much more to it. I had to deal with grandma's body. I would love to give her a proper and dignified memorial like Jane's granddad got. God, Jane is so lucky every day in her household must be like weekend at Bernie's. What a riot it must be. I'm so jealous. Yeah, what a fucking treat. A living room corpse party every goddamn day. I know, right? Alas, I had to dispose the body with haste so the monsters wouldn't eat her. So I just made a little campfire and burned it. I keep the ashes deep in the ruins, which is why I think she liked it best. Hopefully there isn't an earthquake or something that would knock the urn over in a predictable and hilarious fashion. No way, man. I bet my bottom boom book that shit's eternally safe. That urn's like the Fort Knox of standing upright forever because of no accidents. Yeah. So then after camping out the next day, I went exploring and found my room. So then after camping out the next day, I went exploring and found my room globe mostly intact sitting in the jungle, so that's where I live since. That's pretty much it. I sure miss my grandma, though. She was the best. She was definitely very brave if the stories are true. Downright audacious, I'd say. What did you hear? Well, like I said, she was raised by the Baroness. It was probably a worse childhood than either of us had. She wasn't related, obviously. Ain't nobody related to a damn alien fish. Except other fish aliens, probably. She had an adoptive brother, too. Life must have been miserable for both of them. Yes, I vaguely remember her mentioning him. Cripes, the thing she told me now that I think about it. She said the witch even killed a dog. Is that true? I don't know, but I wouldn't doubt it. There are other urban legends that she did a lot of experiments on animals and people, mostly to do with mind control, like figuring out the ways to unlock all of her psychic alien potential to increase her power. Not sure if that's true or if it was an actually successful. If it was actually successful though. So what you're saying is pretty much any unspeakably horrible thing she could have done, she probably did. Yes. Anyway, your grandma managed to run away when she was quite young. Maybe it was a traumatic event like dog murder that prompted her to flee. Who knows? Whatever the case, her bro stayed behind. That guy must have been seriously immune to witnessing fucked up shit because he went on to be a famous comedian. Really kindly old cornball. A nicer guy you couldn't hope to meet, they say. Ha ha. Wow, must have been a hell of a guy. So you're really not making any connections there? Where? Huh? Famous comedian, about the age of your grandma, inheriting the family name of the Baroness. Not ringing a bell? What are you talking about, Dick? Stop speaking in riddles and tell the story. And keep telling the story. I am on tender hooks here. Okay, well, it's not like it's that important. Just a super obvious thing that'll probably occur to you later when you're looking in a fridge you don't have. At which point you'll feel like an idiot. Oh my god, you can be one opaque motherfucker. Just clue me in, bro. Nah, it'll be funnier this way. Strider! Moving on. That kid kept the family name, but obviously your grandma didn't. She must have held a grudge against the Baroness her whole life. She started by taking a different name she knew would stick in her craw. Oh, I remember this. I believe she said the witch used to be married to a terrible man named English. So because the witch really hated that guy, she took on his name as a sort of big old fuck you to the woman. That's probably close to the truth, but it sounds like kind of story an old lady tells her young grandson in a way he would understand, or at least something that wouldn't scare the shit out of him. What I've read is something much more sinister, as usual. There's supposedly only one thing the Baroness fears, and your grandma learned this somehow. It wasn't an ex-husband, though. It was her superior. Some kind of demon or another alien. No one really knows. But he went by the name English. He's supposedly even more brutal than she is, if you can believe that. So, I'm named after a demon? What kind of demon is named English anyway? What kind of alien's named Crocker? It's probably just a name he stole from someone else, like the Baroness did. Oh, I guess it's kind of cool being named after a demon who's so scary even the witch is afraid of him. Yeah, well, your grandma thought so. Everything she did in life thereafter seemed to be an effort to piss off the Batter Witch, like starting a competing tech company, heavily branded in a way that was presumably intended to remind the Baroness of her boss, like with skulls and garish colors and shit. The dude is some kind of skull monster, I guess. Oh, I love skulls! Well, I know. I know. Yes, Hoppy Woodall. Oh, that's Maplehoof. It was definitely brave on her part, but ultimately it got her a bankrupt company, a blown up house, and a fork through the torso for her trouble. But she must have been the first to understand how dangerous the Baroness was while acting in covert opposition. Others would follow and continue to as of now in your time period. These are your ancestors. Yeah, mine and Roxy's were among them. Anyone I've heard of? Of course. Of course. All these fuckers are totally famous, obviously. Oh, sure, obviously. We've already talked about the guy I'm genetically derived from a lot, actually. Like, every time I've ever talked about my bro. Gadzooks, of course, with all your future mind fuckery, you made me completely forget about your vaunted Hollywood sibling. I should have asked where he fit into the picture if you were raised alone. I sure can be as dumb as a bag of candy sometimes. Sometimes. Other times you're on point, like a bag of the nickel shit. Whoa! Now those are the sweets kept in reserve for millionaires. Such flattery! Okay, what we're saying stopped meaning anything, so I'll continue. Right. Right. So he was never actually a bro? No, that's just kind of how I view him. Lalonde took a more maternal view of her ancestor. The lady who wrote all the dreary wizard books, I presume. Yeah, the Complacency of the Learned series. Ever read it? No, tried. It's too depressing. And also kind of impossible to understand. I told Roxy I liked it though because I didn't want to hurt her feelings, so don't say I said that. I think I'll wait for the movies to come out. I bet I'll like those better. You don't say. Oh, I do say. Hey, you must have seen them, what, being in the future. Are they any good? They are not. Food to that. Look, I even believe you. The books are pretty interesting, though, if somewhat dense. They're supposedly heavily allegorical, veiled representations of cosmic events surrounding the witch and her boss and how all this came about. It's the kind of thing you wouldn't pick up on unless you were someone who understood what happened, like the Condess, which was kind of the point. I think it was a way of letting the witch know, I'm on to you. In the early days of the resistance movement, they both opposed her more indirectly through their art, like critics of tyrannical governments are often used to. They had to be careful though. Didn't want to make big waves too early. My bro did this with his many fine films. Practically everything was a symbol for something. Either a mockery of the batter witch or conveying some hidden message to its audience. Each film was rigorously picked apart for its head scratching symbolic meaning. But he managed to accomplish all that without ever compromising the purity of his ironic vision, which I think was admirable. Spaj, the movie. Fuck yes, Bosh. Fuck yes, the Spash films rule. Screw the haters, that's what I say. You also say that about Weekend at Bernie's. Man, that is a scandalous mischaracterization. Nobody hates Weekend at Bernie's. The Weekend at Bernie's films are generally regarded as so unremarkably mediocre that they don't even attract any trolls who care enough to shit on it. Believe me, I've tried to get in debates with people about it. Yeah, you pretty much touche'd the fuck out of that, but we are definitely in agreement about my bros films as the masterstrokes they were. He just kept cranking them out, too. He really stepped up production after 11 even though the cat was finally out of the bag. He was very dedicated to his craft. Dang, I can't hardly wait to see them. Yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath about that. Why not? Man, fuck it, I'll just send you them. Just keep a lid on them. We don't want any weird causality shit rearing its head here. That would be dumb. I will guard each glistening compression artifact with my life as if it were a jewel pilfered from a tomb. Thunder. Nice. Which was the last movie you saw? Well, there was Spaz the movie and Spaz the film. And, oh yeah, and Spaz the movie. I think Spaz the Moav is still in production, right? Right. But honestly, I get confused about which particular misspelling is attributed to which film, or even if I'm getting the misspellings right. The key to sorting it all out is to understand it doesn't actually matter. Through video streaming services, he would frequently set it up so that by buying a certain title, would ship you the wrong film, and often titles for movies were available for sale that just straight up didn't exist, or would be sold for dollar amounts that made no sense, like $2.89 and 1 cent, and sometimes buying a download would actually deposit money into your account instead of deduction it. It's all part of the experience. Your forebears is certainly entrepreneurial, if nothing else. I can get behind the idea of making a killing if it means I also get to be as good at doing adventures as I hope to be. Did they ever bring the battle to the witch's doorstep, or were the blows strictly dealt through public masquerades and theatrics? Yeah, they got pretty deep into the shit eventually. They were both very skilled combatants. Pretty sure she had weird powers, too. Powers, you say? Communion with occult forces, something like that. She knew things, had visions. That's why she was able to write those books, and more importantly, why Roxy and I were able to survive here. How? They knew we would be here someday, so they prepared for our arrival. I live in what used to be my bro's old apartment 400 years ago. The whole city's gone, but this unit was somehow protected. He left some supplies for me here, like a lifetime supply of orange soda in the crawl space, along with a fuck ton of Spotch merch. It was like discovering my own personal holocaust of bulbous judging bottoms. Plus some weapons, some other gear, and a killer pair of shades. Roxy's mom used to live in her place too, and left some stuff she might need lying around. This was way before there were carapacian colonies, though. I think her house must have been some kind of kernelized structure, like a potential colony. Something built to undergo modular self replication if that happened. I'm sure her mom knew that. It's been a good way for Rox to blend in. I stick out like a sore thumb here, of course, but it hasn't really been a problem yet. So, they knew you would show up in the future someday and prepared for that. Doesn't that mean they also knew they weren't going to be able to stop the witch? Probably. But they went down fighting anyway. Wow. That's brave and kinda sad. Yeah, but wouldn't you? Of course! You always go down guns blazing. That's what a hero does when he loves adventure and has guns. If there's one thing movies had taught me, besides the fact that guys using a corpse as a silly puppet is freaking hilarious, it is that fact. It's not like their rebellion was totally futile. They took a lot of shitheads down with them. Who? Sympathizers. Ugh. Just the thought of such scoundrels turns my stomach. They should. In order for you to understand, I'll have to fill you in on the ridiculous final gasps of human civilization taking place over the several decades leading up to its absolute enslavement. The decades which immediately followed the rebranding. As I mentioned, Crocker Corp's rebranding on 311, as it was often referred to in the news, totally changed everything. It marked the that's Eridan's number. It marked the beginning of a completely shameless downward spiral of Western civilization through a series of events that were probably hard to notice at the time, but quite glaring when evaluated historically. Though the Baroness made very few substantive gestures of aggression, the global fear of her looming threat would trigger all the changes she needed. Governments prepared for war as if to defend against the invading alien army she undoubtedly commanded, but of course, she had no army. She was always the only of her kind. Besides, the world powers were only setting about to build her armies for her. Instead, the world powers were only setting about to build her armies for her. The media deteriorated into this preposterous circus that was in all practical ways inseparable from the power base and government institutions. Popular entertainers became dangerous demagogues, and their roles in media became blurred with those of executive authority. And then the most dangerous were the ones who fed into the fear and hysteria most effectively. They tended to be plants, unscrupulous shills paid by the Baroness to move her agenda forward. Dang. I would like to think I will not be suckered by their silvery tongues whenever they come along. And no one's immune to propaganda. The thing is, some of them are already on the scene in your time. Who? Ever heard of Guy Fieri? No? Oh, I don't think so. You're fortunate then. He was an especially... Dirk. He was an especially degenerate piece of filth. Ugh. He used his connections and guile to wriggle into the spotlight and then into other positions of power. He somehow landed on the U.S. Supreme Court. Over the years, other justices started mysteriously disappearing without being replaced. After helping rewrite the Constitution to form an incomprehensible patchwork of fascism, theocratic mandates, recipes, and bad rap lyrics, he weaseled his way up to the ranks to become the High Chaplain of Interstellar War, I'm just going to cut to the chase because this isn't really a big history lesson here. He eventually came to be regarded as the third and final Antichrist. No other human in history was responsible for more death and suffering. That boorish, that boorish cuh. Yes, that's exactly the phrase I would use to describe someone responsible for the extermination of 5 billion people. It was just so uncivilized of him. How could such an atrocity be allowed to happen? Was his personal magnetism really that overwhelming? Maybe overwhelming in the wrong direction, yeah. But it didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual decline in the integrity of the system that allowed it. Eventually, the wheels came off and the political scene mirrored the absurdity of the media circus. By the time Presidents Jay and Dope were elected, Western civilization had officially fucked itself over forever, and I think everyone knew it. Oh no. When does that happen? The far flung year of 2024. The last free election the world would ever see. So, like, they were on the ticket together as president and vice president. Nah, man, they were both president. They were the first dual presidents of the United States of America, and also the last. They were the first and last juggalo presidents. The founding fathers warned us about this, but no one listened. They did. They warned us about what exactly? The mirthful I had to say that in an arch voice. I'm sorry. The mirth. I can't. The mirthful. The mirthful executives. George Washington had prophetic nightmares about him. He tried to warn people, get language amended into the Constitution to prevent it, like forbidding the election of what he'd famously described as a pair of salty bards, or unruly gestures given to the sweet drink. But everyone just thought he toked too hard on the colonial cannabis or whatever. Not sure I follow. These are like clown presidents or such? Yes, they were a shitty rap duo from your time, but they ran a hell of a campaign. By then, the Juggalo Party had gotten huge. While the numerous other candidates split the moderate vote, they retained a very energized and devoted base. You could say their party had a big tent. Doug, I really dislike the future you're describing. Hey, me too. They were swept into office on a wave of Fago, and the presidential inauguration was the biggest gathering of the juggalos of all time. They all hosed each other down on the White House lawn with shitty soda. Okay, seriously? Seriously? Is this Dirk calling fucking January 6th with Fago? What is happening? What is actually happening here? Of course, the campaign was helped considerably by having support from the Baroness. In retrospect, people developed the impression that it was all part of a sick sense of humor. It was the sense that she just loved the idea of delegating the extreme subjugation of the world's population to a pair of demented clown rappers. Some have speculated this was just another way she was attempting to resurrect her previous model of governance, though that seems far-fetched to me. Who the fuck even heard of an alien? Uh, and there was a sense that she just loved the idea of delegating the extreme subjugation of the world's population to a pair of demented clown rappers. Some have speculated that this was just another way she was attempting to resurrect her previous model of governance, though that seems kind of far-fetched to me. Who the fuck ever heard of an alien juggalo? To me, this is about as stupid as crackpot theories get. Oh, I still don't really know what a juggalo is. Do they juggle? Don't worry about it. People were less prepared for a double juggalo presidency than they ever imagined. I'm not even gonna get into all the horrifying details. Trust me, you would start to feel dirty reading about it. From the moment Fieri held up the Bible to swear them in, and the three of them proceeded to publicly defecate on it while freestyling rap lyrics. That was it. Everyone in the world watching it on TV just said, well, show's over. Civilization was pretty cool while it lasted. Missed it by 4 years. That close. Who knows? Maybe we'll get it again. Actually, missed it by 8 years. God, what is time? Joe Biden is just a fucking void where a decision should be. The next several grueling terms of their presidency was a weird combination of authoritarian practices. The Baroness used it as a puppet regime while still basically giving them carte blanche to carry out their idiotic whims. Fago was pumped through the plumbing instead of tap water. The new national pastime was having type 2 diabetes, and the national anthem was replaced by a 3-minute high reverb audio clip of President J farting into a microphone while laughing. Champlain Flieri was authorized to set up the death camps, in which anyone on the planet could be imprisoned if they were not deemed sufficiently mirthful. So the cleansing began, priming humanity for its new ruler waiting in the wings. This was when our ancestors had enough. The resistance movement had failed, but they could at least bring the war criminals to justice. My bro finally caught up with the presidents and challenged them to a duel. They accepted, having for years regarded him as a cocky rival rapper who failed to show them the proper respect. In their arrogance, they invited him into the foul belly of the carnival, believing they could teach him once and for all what it meant to truly be down with the clown. For centuries thereafter, the survivors of the Holocaust would cite the rooftop showdown as one of the most heroic moments in human history. He killed them both. Unfortunately, as they were only figureheads, no liberation followed. There would be no parades in the streets, or statues cast, or medals awarded. A few witnesses would report seeing only a man with a sword on a shitty skateboard gently rising into the night sky. No one ever saw him again. Like a fucking piece of garbage. Meanwhile, Roxy's mom had been tracking down the High Champlain. His crimes had already been committed. She couldn't repay him in any stretch of the imagination. But she could wipe the blood-stained grin off that fat bastard's face. Why is she at the Niagara Falls? I can walk to this. Why is she at the Niagara Falls? She gouged his eyes out with a pair of needles and rode his torso to the bottom of the bloody falls. Reports of what happened to our ancestors after that are sketchy. There were no eyewitnesses reports I've found, but some believe they were regrouped and confronted. They regrouped and confronted the Condess herself. With all her high-ranking officers dead and the human population decimated and sufficiently groomed for her arrival, there was no reason to stay behind the scenes anymore. After all those dreadful years of putting up with a more vulgar brand of authoritarianism, when she finally stepped forward to claim her throne, it actually came off as somewhat dignified. Elegant in a way. She was no less severe, but at least she knew how to act like an empress. But even if they did manage to confront her, there was no way they could win. She had too many crazy alien powers. Her boss was supposedly had jacked her power level through the roof. I even heard, and don't quote me on this, that she may have been over 9,000. Heavens to Betsy! That figure is just absurd! Yeah, and that's not even to speak of the generic smorgasbord of other powers she's rumored to have. It gets hard to separate the fact from the urban myth, but for reference, you might, if you want to believe it all, just picture all the X-Men combined into one sexy fish woman in a tight suit. Whoa, mama. Whatever actually went down, they're surely both dead now. I guess it had to happen like that, though. There's no way the Condess will allow us to be born within even a century of our genetic forebears. The thought of that was completely disgusting to her. But I really would have been like to have been able to meet him. I guess some things are just too awesome to ever stand a chance of happening. Yeah, I know the feeling. Wait. What? Dirk, didn't you tell me at some point that you did find evidence the witch killed them? As of now, no. Are you sure? I swear I remember you saying something about that. How could I have said anything like that before today? This is obviously the first time I've mentioned any of this. Uh, oh. I'm just having the nuttiest deja vu thing going on right now. I feel weird. I guess I'm mistaken. Never mind. Okay. I will disregard your anomalous observation for now and continue conversing as if it never happened. Right. Good plan. Anywho, that's a heck of a tragic and thrilling tale, Dirk. And I'm still totally cockeyed and catawampus about it all, and I don't even know what to think. But you believe me, right? Oh yeah, every word of it. Wow. Why shouldn't I? You're my friend and I trust you. Well, I just think it's impressive is all, even after all this time. You are pretty much a one-of-a-kind dude. Heh, not really, I just like believing stuff and believing in people. Wait, what do you mean? About what? When you said after all this time, you just told me now. Yes. Hang on, Blug, this deja vu shit is happening again. Okay, I am sure we've had this conversation before so many times. So many things are familiar. I remember you saying the one-of-a-kind dude thing, and I remember you saying the word catawampus, and all of it. What's going on? Took you long enough to figure it out. Pages really are a slow-burning class, damn. Figure what out? You're asleep. Ugh, that's right, I fell off the platform thing and I guess I got knocked out. Yep. So I'm dreaming. Kinda. It's a dream bubble. What's that? A place where, in the infinite abyss, where sleeping people can share dreams with each other while visiting memories. Revisiting memories, rather. Also where they can meet dead people. So are we sharing a dream together? And you're currently asleep too? Currently in the future? No, even if I was, I wouldn't visit a dream bubble. That only happens when your dream self is dead, like yours is. Mine's not. I guess I understand. So what's the deal then? Wait, you said this is where they meet dead people too. Shit, Dick, are you dead? Are you a ghost? No, dude, chill. I'm fine. Then what the fuck is going on? Who am I talking to? Well, who are the people you talk to when you have a regular dream? What? Just like a boring normal dream, there's a person you're talking to. Who's that? I don't know. It's nobody, just a protection of your own mind. Dream bubbles don't always need to be shared by dreamers or dead people. You can go to sleep and wake up in one alone, reliving an old memory. Kind of like a normal dream until you remember it's just a memory, which is where we are now. Okay, so I'm having like a lucid dreamy thing in a magic bubble and you are just a figment of my imagination. Yes, basically. So I'm talking to myself? That's kind of stupid. Well, yeah, but not quite. But not quite. You could view me as a projection of the real Dirk within your mind as expressed through all of your thought patterns about him. So I'm kind of like a splinter of his corporeal self who happens to live in your awareness. I'm a startlingly kill me. I'm a startlingly close approximation to the real thing for all intents and purposes. Just how startlingly close are we talking? I'm not gonna give you a bogus percentage like the glasses, because that's not my shtick, but pretty damn close. Okay, that's fair. But man, there's something that feels kind of weird about this. You being in my head, it's a little messed up. What's messed up about it? You were the one who put me there with your intimate understanding of all his mannerisms and predilections, and a splintered existence is pretty much how he rolls. It's how shit is, bro. Okay, I'm still sorry for saying it's messed up, but it's still a bit frustrating. I've been trying to talk to you all day, but all I get is your pesky responder bedeviling me at every turn and your friggin' robot punching me across the ocean and then throwing a weird tantrum and ripping his nuclear heart out in front of me. And if that weren't enough, I stumbled off the doohickey and knocked myself out, and now I'm strolling down memory lane with your fake brain ghost. It's like you're surrounding me on all sides with imitations of yourself, but never the real you. Chains and fucking crackers, when do I get to talk to the actual Deck? Jake, do you even know about someone's actual self? What makes it actual? What is actuality? What a horseshitty question! I don't know anything about what actuality is, but I guess I know some philosobabble horseshit when I dead blasted here. I'm just saying, this isn't really your field of expertise. Dirk's the heart guy. He's the one walking the path of self, even when he doesn't know it. Like right now. But what does that mean? And how could you really be made of only my thoughts when I don't even know what you're talking about half the time? And when I didn't know some of the things you're telling me, like about being in a dream bubble. How can I tell myself that stuff through a brain ghost deck? Who says you don't know those things on some level? I don't think I do. I have no business knowing those things. Pages have a lot of untapped potential. That's practically all there is to the class, actually. But when they eventually find out, look out. And the ones who deal in hope, shit, man. I'm scared of you already, and I'm not even real. All right, how much longer is this gonna go? Yeah, okay. So I think I'm gonna call this one here. This has been about an hour. My voice is getting raw. Thank you if you showed up to the stream. And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Just trying to get back into it. So next time, I guess I'll be doing part 3. All right. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you for showing up to the stream. Bye-bye.